know, right?
I move that we open our meeting.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second to go ahead and open the meeting. All are present and accounted for. Do we have any comments on closed session items?
We do not.
No comments on closed session items. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
Second.
Okay, and I've got a second. Let's vote. Ms. Dew? Ms.
Yes.
Edmondson? Mr. Castaneda?
Aye.
Mr. Barrios?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Closed session we go. Gentlemen. Shut it.
Sorry.
Okay, there we go, I see. Okay, we are virtually live. Okay. Okay, can I get a motion to come out of closed session? Let's vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Ms. Edmondson?
Yes.
Mr. Castaneda? Aye. Mr. Barrios?
Aye.
I vote aye. Okay, we're gonna call the regular session to order, 3.1.
Did you do a vote back there?
Oh, you know what, actually, we do have one thing to report out. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you. There is one thing to report out of closed session. In closed session, the Board of Education took action to accept the resignation agreement for employee number 15655 pursuant to Education Code Section 44939 and 44932. It was a 5-0 unanimous vote in the favor of aye. Okay. Now we can go 3.1. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, let's vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Ms. Edmondson?
Yes.
Mr. Castaneda?
Aye.
Mr. Barrios?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay, 3.2, we are all present. Nobody's absent. Let's go to 3.4. Today, we are going to have our presentation of colors that are going to be done by Victor Valley High School's Air Force Junior ROTC.
Colonel Schmidt.
Yes, please stand, everybody.
Left face. Present. Colors.
Doctor, would you be so kind?
Place your right hand over your heart. Please begin. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Colors. Right face. Column left. March. Left. 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 Right. Left. 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 Right. Left. Left.
All right, folks, you can be seated. Thank you. Fantastic. Love that. Yeah, who's the
Someone go
the
get.
teacher in charge, or the
Colonel
Colonel
Smith. Yeah, we need
Thank
to get
you.
him in.
This is only week 3 of school. Day 1 of week 3. Thank you.
Okay.
How long have these students been working together?
2 days, ma'am.
Nice.
There you go.
Awesome.
Good work.
Very good job.
Yeah.
Thank you, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
You make us proud.
Absolutely.
2 days.
2 days, that's good work in 2 days.
It's great to see Air Force again.
Sir, you guys are excellent. Yes, you are.
Do we have coins that we could give to those? Could we ask the
Thank you,
students to
sir.
come in one more time?
Yes,
So
ma'am,
we
one
could
moment,
give
please.
them a coin?
Coins. I got some, but not that many.
Got the coin. Give me kids with one.
Mr. Moman, could you hand them to the students as they come by?
Be more than happy to.
There you go.
Here you go. We have your coin.
And to their
Congratulations.
instructor
Thank
as
you.
well?
Excellent job. Excellent job. Left.
Thank you, we are so impressed.
Thank you, young man.
Excellent job.
You
Thank
guys
you.
did a great job. We're so proud of you. Thank you, we're so proud of you. Thank you.
It's a challenge point for you.
We are
son.
very proud of you.
Great job.
Thank you so much.
Nice
job. We are so proud of you.
Love it.
dismissed.
Why don't they come up here and then we'll
Yeah,
take
bring
a
'em up
picture
here.
with them?
Yeah, let's do it, yeah.
With
Air
the board.
Force, yes. My husband and my father.
It's coming right here.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you guys. Give them one last hand.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Did he get appointed?
Yes.
Bless you. All right.
That was strange.
Okay, 3.5, folks, let's go ahead and continue on here. 3.5 is going to be approval of the agenda. I got a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
Got a second from Mr. Castaneda, and we can vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Yes.
Ms. Edmondson? Thank you. Mr. Castaneda?
Aye.
Mr. Barrios? Aye. And I vote aye. Okay, 4.1, we have guidelines from attending public. We have somebody that can read the statement.
To read it.
Mr. Moen, would you be
Okay.
so kind to?
Yes, sir. If you wish to address the board on any topic, including any item on the agenda, please submit your comments to the board president by completing a request to address the board card prior to the meeting and submitting it to the assistant to the superintendent. The president will recognize those who desire to speak either during the public comment section of the agenda or before the particular agenda item. Each speaker should move quickly to the microphone and announce your name before beginning your presentation. Meetings are taped for later transcription. Each speaker is allocated a maximum of 3 minutes. The president may choose to limit each topic to 10, no more than 20 minutes. If substantial numbers of people wish to address the board on one topic, testimony should be brief and to the point. Speakers should not repeat testimony already presented. Board action may not legally be taken on any item not specifically listed on the agenda. The board may ask that such items be placed on the next agenda for consideration. Testimony is not protected from damage claims for slander, public charges, or allegations may result in legal action being brought by those individuals. The board values constructive community comments and suggestions. It welcomes your participation in the democratic process.
Thank you, Mr. Mullen. Okay, first one I have is going to be Carlos Campos.
First of all, greetings to everyone. Greetings to the ladies and gentlemen of the board. Mr. Moman, Dr. Rubalcava, Dr. Yee, Dr. Hawkins. Is he present today? No, okay, sorry. Ms. Deal. I'm sorry?
He's no longer with us.
Oh,
That's
I
okay.
apologize. I did not know that. Ms. Deal, welcome. And Ms. Pauling, thank you. I wish to give an update on from the music directors at each site regarding the spending of the SR3 funds. First of all, I would like to thank the board and the district and site administrators for their help and support of the music programs using these funds. According to the feedback from the various directors, all directors collaborated with their site administrators to create a list of needs to be supported, and all lists were submitted to site administrators prior to July 1st. According to the feedback given, 5 of the 6 sites replied with responses from their administrators, and most felt positive about their conversations. The only issues that arose were one school had an issue with support for their order due to the changing of the site admin, while another was told some of the funds would be diverted to a site concern, and so not all of their needs would be met. The one site, however, had no support due to the position being vacant, and so they were putting it on hold until the position was filled. The others that were told that their orders seemed to be approved and were looking forward to much needed supplies. One or more of the orders were so large that they actually required board approval, and I believe one of them is on the agenda tonight. So thank you for that. So far, none of the supplies have arrived yet, and if it pleases the board, I will provide an update at the next meeting when they do.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, and then I have Ms. Stephanie.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Olgwin. Problem 1, my concern is that the district first line is creating PO amounts of $9,995 to hire consultants without board approval due to the amount being under $10,000. The PO is later charged or changed using a change order to a different amount after it's approved. The amount is increased but does not require board approval because the original PO was created at the lesser amount. This is concerning because the district is hiring consultants to help and support district managers with their job duties. The resolution should be that the district first line requesting the consultant enters the appropriate amount of the PO and presents it to the board for approval for the correct amount to be paid to the consultant. This is to allow transparency to both the school board and the public for what the consultant is being hired for. If someone is not fully qualified for a position, the upper management over the specific department should be informed when a consultant will be coming in to help the employee, not find out the day the consultant arrives. If other positions within the district are required to be fully qualified for the position when they are hired, why is this different for management? Problem 2, in classified personnel, item 9B, the school office assistant for the district nurse. The problem is that our district nurse was hired to fulfill a position that was filled for over 10 years with no additional assistance. We went from 1 district employee to 9 classified employees and 1 certificated employee, and now they are seeking to hire 1 more. Funds are being misappropriated to create a new position to assist with duties that should be completed by the district nurse, not by a SOA with no medical background. In addition, the nurse has involuntarily transferred a select number of health clinicians, not all, creating 2 roving health clinician positions and causing school sites and parents to recreate a relationship with a new health clinician. A resolution would be to utilize the current 2 roving health clinicians that the district nurse created at the beginning of the school year to assist with these duties instead of hiring an additional SOA. These health clinicians are paid for under the ESSER 2 funds and do not have a direct fiscal impact on the district. Problem 3, classified employees are not receiving uniforms from last year. I know we did have some fittings this week. The problem with classified employees not receiving their uniforms for the 21-22 school year is that the money was appropriated for that reason. We had custodial, maintenance, food service, and security that I'm aware of who either received no uniform items or others who received partial items. The other concern is that the employees have approached us letting us know that they have heard that they will not receive any uniform articles from last year. The resolution would be to give all of the missing uniform pieces to the staff who are missing the items with the new vendor. If this would not be an option, the employees should be compensated for the missing items out of that uniform budget from last year. Problem 4, classified shoe reimbursement. Classified employees have approached us stating that their selection of uniform shoes are being questioned and specific requirements may be required to receive the reimbursement. The problem with the upper management making a choice for employees is that they do not work in their position on their feet all day. Our staff who are on their feet currently have a choice of what type of shoes that support their body for the impact of being on their feet all day, as long as they are within uniform guidelines. A change would cause a rise in workmen's compensation claims due to improper shoes. The resolution should be employees continue to purchase the shoes they are comfortable in as long as they are within the current guidelines and reimbursement amounts.
Ms. Stephanie, can you do 20 seconds?
Yes,
Okay,
I
thank
have
you.
one more sentence.
Perfect.
If additional requirements will be made to uniform shoes, it should be negotiated with the union. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, VVTA. No, they're both, that's it. No more comments. Two. Yeah. That was who was gonna go down next. I was gonna watch it play out.
No. Okay, yes, I'm speaking tonight on behalf of VVTA. Mike Mayo obviously is not here, but he did leave me lots of notes, so I will read what he wrote. Good evening, Board of Trustees and Cabinet. We must first acknowledge that we had a shooting on one of our district's campuses. Silverado High School had a pretty successful completion of our first week of school with students, but on Friday night, after the football scrimmage game, someone fired a gun multiple times near the gymnasium. And I heard from some of our members in the stadium that many students came rushing back inside when the firing began. I heard members say the experience was terrifying. Heather Conkle held an optional informational meeting on Monday this week to help those concerned ask questions and hear a summary of what the district believes occurred. At this meeting, the attending staff learned of some supports like additional mental health clinicians. We hope plans designed around prevention of these acts will include the association's perspectives, advice, and help. The completion of our first full week for the 22-23 school year has been mostly positive. Many of our members report that this year is beginning more favorably than last, and it feels like a year where we have great potential to take actions leading to real change in our district. There are, however, some issues revealed at our last rep council meeting and some other news that I heard outside of VVTA. At Hook, UP, and Silverado, air conditioning in a few classrooms is an issue, although some have been resolved, some have not. But work orders have been assigned. I have reminded our site representatives, and I remind the board now that we have safety language in our CBA, and informal grievances may be coming if we can't get the students and members into safer learning environments more quickly. I have kids and adults in rooms who are having a hard time in the heat. Although I, Jennifer, noticed item 7.9, and I'm hoping that that will be some help in that last paragraph that I just read. 7.9 says replacement of AC and swamp coolers. So I hope that is going to be our resolution. There are some concerns about the mandatory kickoff being a super spreader event, as there were some members indicating they tested positive for COVID after attending. We've also received several emails indicating that numerous people have come down with COVID since the event. Sims appears to be one of the more affected campuses. Here are some things the board may want to look into. We want to make sure that new hires who were working during their non-student days do get paid for those days if they are not working them. There are also many teachers working on their preps this year, and we know site administrators are only asking for members to be on their prep because they want to stay in compliance of the contract. As of today, Adelanto alone had 22 sections being 22 teachers teaching on their prep. People teaching on their prep is not good for students, and it's not good for teachers. It's not good. If administrators are asking to have more positions filled, please listen and realistically evaluate their needs at the site. We have the money to hire at the sites if necessary. I have also heard from a member that there's been an influx of special education students at Adelanto High School specifically, and from earlier today, there are 38 students with IEPs over the caseload capacity. Again, VVTA members and site administrators are doing what they can to meet the needs of these students, but they can use some help. I've already shared with the board and Superintendent Moman our concerns with some of the disciplinary measures and triggered use of administrative leave on our membership. In short, VVTA believes that the same restorative practices and progressive disciplinary measures we should be practicing with our students should also be practiced by district administration with their staff. We have received some word that there have been several purchase orders, some months old, some more recent, that were written specifically to be under $10,000 to avoid the approval of the board. What is worrisome is that someone or some resource can receive these slightly under $10,000 funds without the Board of Trustees seeing them or approving them, and these purchase orders can happen over and over again. We would appreciate the board looking into this too, at the very least, to see if this has been happening and asking why. For instance, I've heard that Dr. Hawkins has been paid a consulting fee of slightly less than $10,000 recently, and I would like some verification that these practices are happening or not. VVTA is further concerned with the hiring at the district office for departments that never required those positions before. Otelia Vargas has previously used the word incompetent to describe some of the issues at the district office, and she may have a point. My fear is that placing some less competent people in positions of management is leading to the hiring of further support for that position when we could have instead hired a more competent individual to fill that spot. Prior to hiring those positions, it could go a long way to question whether that's where the money is best spent for students and staff. I want to personally thank Mike Williford for helping with a member's workplace accommodations. I came to him with concerns about one of her accommodations and ideas as to how we could better meet those needs, and he got to helping the member almost immediately, visiting her for himself and observing her working conditions. I owe another thanks to you, Dr. Yee and Heather Conkle, regarding administrative collaboration days, because they both, in their own ways, plan to use some of the administrative collaboration days to support our work with students. Okay, finally, VVTA is currently moving towards endorsing candidates for VVUHSD's board, and we thank those of you who took time to speak and answer questions from our representative council and interview with us. Whether VVTA endorses you or not, we are committed to working with whatever board we have at the conclusion of the election. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, CSEA?
Good evening, Board. I am Tanya Martin, the CSEA Chapter President at VVUHSD. I'm speaking to you tonight on behalf of all CSEA members. We are still having issues and concerns with retaliation, discrimination against CSEA members by the district management. This type of behavior and treatment has been going on for many years, and we are seeing no change. There has been little to no protection from the board for classified employees. Union release time is now being denied by district managers. Involuntary transfers are being made without our rights being protected of negotiation. We see more and more staff being added to district offices, yet our sites are continuing to be overwhelmed with extra duties. The retaliation and discrimination towards CSEA union leaders is at its worst and is hindering union roles within our chapter. It has even been brought to my attention that during the last board meeting, a district manager was seen laughing and taking photographs of me sitting alongside my direct supervisor. We ask the board to please get involved. This type of behavior needs to stop, because when you tell the district managers here, they make excuses and try to make sense of why it's happening. This week I took my district bullying training, and what's happened, 8 of the 10 things that they say to identify in bullying has happened to me personally in the last 9 months. I want to read you an example of what I'm talking about. Changing work conditions, micromanaging and administering intensive surveillance or monitoring, unjustified criticism, work performance, abilities to skills, talents without providing effective training or offset potential effects, imposing restrictive and petty work routines, putting down and moving of work sites. Those are 6 of the 10 things that are on our anti-bullying training that every employee takes every year, and 8 of the 10 things have happened to me as the union president. The district has been very neglectful with classified uniforms under the previous classified director. And for years, no one listened or wanted to help classified employees with uniforms. Uniforms were not provided to any of the new classified employees or existing classified employees who have been waiting patiently for years. After spending their own money, they are now being told that there will be no reimbursements. Although the district claims week after week we are thriving and we are doing well. Maintenance and operations, grounds, custodians, bus drivers, campus security, and warehouse, and last but not least, food service workers all started the new year again with no uniforms. All of these classified employees would like me to voice tonight to the board that they would really appreciate to have their uniforms as soon as possible. We anxiously look forward to the end of years where we start school years without uniforms. CSEA acknowledges the positive changes in human resources have seen under the new direction of HR. Almost 100 new hires started on the first day of school. Many classified were promoted within or given the opportunity to transfer into a new promotion. We saw classified staff continue their education through the CSEA program and earn degrees. Some have accepted teaching position here at our district, and we are so proud of them. These employees are not leaving the district, but moving from CSEA to VVTA. We look forward to working continuously with VVTA. Thank you for listening to all of our voices and concerns tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, folks, let's go ahead and move on to 6.1, approval of consent items.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Vote, Ms. Dew,
Aye.
Yes.
Ms. Edmondson, okay, Mr. Castaneda.
Aye.
Mr. Barrios.
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Okay, 7.1, certificated personnel report.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Just one, okay. On 7.1, now on 3A, has anybody got their agenda in front of them? 3A, is that a new administrative position?
It is.
And what
Dr.
is that position going to do?
Under the OCR resolution agreement, we are to hire a director because it's it's some stipulated that we have to do. So Mike Williford is actually going to be carrying a lot of the OCR responsibilities. So this position is actually going to help him with everything else in student services.
So they're telling us to hire another position to take care of something where they interpreted their own way of the data, right? I know you can't say that, but I can.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take a vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Ms. Edmiston?
Yes.
Sorry, got something there.
Okay?
Mr. Castaneda, yeah, the pretzels here got me.
Aye.
All right, Mr. Barrios,
Nay.
and I vote aye. Okay, 7.2,
So moved.
can I get I got, Ms. Edmondson's got the motion, I've got Mr. Barrios as the second.
I have a
Okay,
question.
discussion,
Yeah.
President Garcia?
yes. Question.
No, not question. If you can introduce our.
Oh, yes, I apologize, you
That's
did tell
okay.
me and I,
Oh,
That's
yes.
okay.
Please feel free. Go ahead, Dr. Yee, would you please be so kind?
I'd like to introduce Ms. Rebecca Cook to our district as the new director of LCAP and everything else that Christine put when she left her position in HR. So we want to welcome Rebecca. If you want
Yeah.
to introduce your guest, if you have a few words, yes.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. I appreciate it. I just want to I do want to say a few words. It's 3 pages. It'll be short. That I've been up.
Yeah.
Set the timer. No, I've been up here a number of times, looking around, interviewing, and everywhere I've been, every store I've been into, everyone I've talked to has been so kind and so warm and so welcoming. And I'm just so excited to join this team and start serving the community. Thank you so much. I'm honored and I'm excited. And yes, my husband drove up here with me tonight, so he's here supporting this. So thank you for being here. And thank you again. I'm really excited, so thank you.
Congratulations, looking forward to it. It's a good man coming with her, by the way. Barbara?
Where are you from?
I'm not done yet. I actually live down in Indio, near Palm
okay.
Springs, yeah.
Oh,
So I'm coming from Desert Sands Unified School District.
Fantastic. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
Okay, now we can talk. I'm sorry, I had my
Yes,
note,
that's
but, yeah.
7.2, I have a question.
Yes, and we have it's open, so go ahead.
Okay, 6B, the 3 new custodians for M&O. Will they be from site to site, working at other sites?
So the idea is, because we have a high absenteeism rate in our district,
Okay.
we don't want to have schools left without custodial support. So we're going to hire additional custodians to be almost like rovers. Same thing with the bus drivers, also on the agenda. Those are additional bus drivers to make sure that our students are always served and our schools are always clean.
Great. All right.
What would we do if there were no need for a substitute? Would they be assigned another site to help out?
Yeah, so they would be maybe like a deep cleaning crew. If there's a COVID case somewhere, they can fill in. With bus drivers, there's other duties that Tiger and the team can have, such as bus washing and stuff like that can happen. So we can always put them to use.
Okay.
I would like to also add that we are putting in significant number of HVAC units throughout the district. And so we need additional support to make sure that they are properly maintained throughout the year and that we have sufficient staff to support those goals.
So could a bus driver do that?
No,
those are the HVAC.
The M&O, yeah, the HVAC.
Well, this was for custodians. in
Okay,
M&O.
and the custodians are doing deep cleaning work throughout our campuses.
they're not doing the HVAC, are
No,
they?
they're not doing the HVAC, but the HVAC folks are added for that reason.
Okay, I just had a question about the M.
Oh, okay, got
Thank
it.
you.
And just one question, okay, on the floaters, I guess you'd call them rovers. Now, if these individuals they're probably gonna, hopefully they'll be notified in ample time, so daily they'll know where they're going to go, right?
Yeah, I think the vision is that they will report to the bus yard, they will report to the morning briefing with Brett, and then be dispatched as needed.
Okay, now, if they're required to
CCA can
go
always
to more
demand
than
it.
one site on their duty day, they're gonna be compensated for their mileage, correct?
So the question is, if they are driving through the district and what have you, that's something that I can look into as far as
You know, if
reimbursement
they're-
for
if they're-
mileage.
If they report to central location, okay, and if they go to, say, Silverado, but then halfway through they say, Adelanto needs a person, they're gonna be compensated for their mileage that they use for that.
I don't have an answer right now, but that's something I can look into.
Because I know
and
that
get
does
back to
come
you.
up, and
Yeah.
if they're being utilized to help us out on a situation, then they should be at least
Our
compensated for
typical,
that mileage.
our
that they do.
typical practice is that when employees have to travel through the district, they're either given a district vehicle or they are reimbursed the IRS rate. Yes.
Is there a way that they could get their assignment the night before or that morning and not have to come into a central location?
I don't know if that's feasible or not, Ms. Edmiston, because employees have a right to call in that morning. But Brett can speak to
I have a
that.
little information. So what our plan is for the rovers, we're gonna have them assigned to basically a shift and a school site. And then when somebody calls in on the ASOP system, which is supposed to call in advance, then Richard will pick that up and call that individual and say, hey, we're not gonna have you at this site, we're gonna have you go to this site instead.
We don't have a rover in classified service. We have not negotiated this. There's no definition of rover in classified.
Well, they're not hired as a rover, they're hired as a bus driver, and they're hired as a custodian or HVAC, and then we direct the work during the day, and then they are assigned. But CACA is always welcome to demand to bargain, not a problem.
And they'll be part of your bargaining unit, is
That is
correct?
correct.
Yes.
And receive benefits
So
like
it's not
any
that
other.
they're contracted, they're part of the bargaining
They're
unit?
part of the bargaining unit, they're regular, fully paid positions.
They're permanent employees.
They're
Yes.
permanent employees
So
with
not a
benefits
substitute
instead
that
of
would be
subs.
part of the bargaining unit.
They're not, these are
These
full
people will
employees.
get benefits?
Yes. And the need is there. There's a need in the district. We just want to make sure we're meeting the needs of our students and staff.
So I got a question on 8B, because it says that the LVN is going to support the district nurse. So this person's not going to serve at a site, or?
No, this person would serve at the district office level, and one of the reasons is that, you know, we've had a high rate of COVID, as you know, and we could get back into it again. We also have significant paperwork that is associated with this. We have vaccinations that children have to have, and we have to track that data. All of our children throughout the district need to be tracked for any kind of medical need, and those systems need to be updated. In addition to that paperwork, we have other paperwork that needs to go to the county. So we have a lot of compliance issues. Most of it's brought on by COVID, and a lot of these positions are funded through the ESSER funding.
But once COVID is gone or settles down,
Then those positions would go away, and we're hoping that, you know, they would apply for other positions throughout the district, you know, once those funds go away. But we've got another couple of years of this funding, and we're hoping we don't see another surge, but if we do, we have the staff in place in order to handle it.
Wouldn't this be better served, though, by hiring a sort of a temporary employee, like to serve as like a COVID-specific position, rather than hiring?
What's difficult with that is the consistency of information and medical information in particular. So we definitely have a need for that at this time. We want to be in full compliance. For example, we had 209 children that did not have the proper vaccination records for the first day of school. Working with that group of children and parents in the school sites, we brought that number down to 27. But that was a significant amount of paperwork in order to, and contact information to make sure that we contacted folks, that we got them the shots and vaccinations that they needed, that they got into the enrollment center, that their records got updated. and that those children, then were admitted to school. We have, it was mentioned a little earlier, we have an uptick in our special ed population. A lot of those kids have medical needs, and we have so much going on. We just really need the support.
Would that person be part of the bargaining unit as well?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Okay, call for questions, okay?
I mean, could we table 8B until September? Because part of it is, I'm wondering if we don't already have the staffing in the office. Because how are these the two rovers that we hired already, how are they being utilized?
We don't have office assistants for the RN position. We don't have that support right now. We have somebody that is supporting risk management, and that is a full-time duty.
Well, 8B is not for office assistants, it's for the new LVN.
Oh, for the new LVN, I thought we were still talking.
Because I almost wonder if we couldn't get away with maybe a less expensive position to handle paperwork rather than
We
hiring a
can
full
table
LVN.
it and take a look at other options if you wish.
Well, is this LVN going to be administering?
No,
Will they be using any of the nursing skills?
they can't be an RN, so they are in addition to the LVN staff.
So someone, it would be, I'm sorry, I can't hear. Someone who is able to do office work might be more appropriate for that position?
So item 9B is for that purpose. Item
Right.
9B is the school
8B.
Yes, I know. So I'm just answering. Item 9B is the school office assistant who will support on the clerical level. Item 8B is asking for an additional LVN.
So, I'm not sure why you wanna pull the additional LVN, but
Because it sounds like they're going to be doing clerical work instead
Well,
of.
that's the way
No.
it was
What is it?
described.
I'm
like
sorry,
that.
I was confused on your question. So I was addressing the next one, the 9B, so
Oh,
I
okay.
apologize.
so what will the
You
LVN
meant
be
nine
doing?
B, right?
Right. 9B is for
Right,
the
okay.
office.
What will the new
Correct.
LVN be doing?
We can table that until we can talk to the
No,
nurse if
I'm
you like.
asking, what are you proposing that this new position will be doing? We have it here, 8B. What,
Supporting the district nurse with tasks that that person can do. There are some things that the nurse has to do. There are other items that the LVNs can do.
what are the things that LVN can do that we have a need for with this new position?
I can't answer those very specific duties for you.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Then in that case, I would support your tabling.
So
it
Caleb's
till we know.
idea would be appropriate for now, I would think.
Yeah, I'd like to motion to
So make
table
the
it.
motion.
So table
Okay.
8B,
8B.
okay? Gotta get a second,
Second,
okay?
could we have a discussion next meeting about what
Absolutely.
their duties, what you need?
Absolutely. Thank
Okay,
you.
so motion is on the floor to table 8B. Ms. Dew,
Yeah, we can table.
okay? Ms. Edmondson,
Yes.
Castaneda,
Aye.
Barrios,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Okay, we can take the rest of the classified personnel report. It's already on the floor. Call for questions, we're good. Ms. Dew, can we vote on the classified personnel report?
Aye.
Yes.
Mr. Castaneda?
Aye.
Mr. Barrios?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. All right, 7.3.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Let's vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Ms. Edmondson?
Yes.
Mr. Castaneda?
Aye.
Mr. Barrios?
Aye.
I vote aye. 7.4.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Let's vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Edmondson?
Yes.
Castaneda?
Aye.
Barrios?
Aye.
And I vote aye. 7.5.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Okay.
Just one. I'm assuming that most of these, I call them Brett questions, all right? These are for the Cobalt renovation, right?
So 7.5 and 7.6 are for
The flooding on
Atlanta,
Atlanta.
the gym flood at
Oh, yeah,
Atlanta.
yeah, that
So
one, yeah.
those two
But the
are,
others are for Cobalt?
well, then you have,
There's several items.
no, so
No.
Apex Rentals for a new backhoe, ours
Well,
is
yeah,
30
I
years
understand
old.
that.
7.8 is for
Cafeteria
Old
tables.
Cobalt for tables. 7.9 is to replace air conditioners and swamp coolers basically at Victor, Hook, and Silverado.
That's not for the ACs that are gonna be required or needed at Cobalt?
So Old Cobalt, we've already got that one. That's already been approved. You already
Okay,
approved
that's
that
what
one.
we talked about last.
Mhm.
Yeah, that one's
Right.
already
All right,
approved,
got it.
and And next board meeting, you'll be seeing the award, request to approve award of the air conditioners at Silverado for the main buildings for the modernization portion of it.
Where are you using swamp cooling instead of air conditioning?
Nowhere, we're taking swamp coolers out
They're gonna
And replacing them with
air
air.
conditioners.
Okay.
Currently, they're in the cafeterias or over the cafeterias.
I like
I did
that.
too. Or no, I didn't.
Oh,
All right.
and then 7.10 is more vehicles that we're needing to replace that are outdated.
Yeah.
All right, Brett, thank you.
That's all.
One question real quick. for
I'm just
Edmondson.
confused. Which item are we on?
Well, we started with
7.5. We started going down the list there.
7.5, I
He asked me about
apologize. I
all
was
this.
trying to be, you know.
Yes, I figured I'd just
You're
get them all out of the way for
explaining it
you.
all, so they-
That's it. Thank you, Brett. We appreciate
Questions, okay?
that.
Thank you very much.
We're going to have to block out
Thank you,
a
Brett.
section for Brett in here. It's going to be the
Yeah.
Brett minutes,
We
you know?
should have had a card here for you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Ms. Edmondson?
Yes.
Mr. Castaneda?
Aye.
Mr. Barrios?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay, we can go to 7.6.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Let's go ahead and vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Edmondson?
Yes.
Castaneda?
Aye.
Barrios?
Aye.
I vote aye. 7.7.
So moved.
Second.
All right, discussion? Good. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Yes.
Edmonston?
Yes.
Okay, Castaneda?
Aye.
Barrios?
Aye.
I vote aye. 7.8.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Let's go ahead and vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Ms. Edmondson?
Yes.
Castaneda?
Aye.
Barrios?
Aye.
I vote aye. 7.9.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Let's go ahead and vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Edmondson?
Yes.
Castaneda?
Aye.
Barrios?
Aye.
Thank you. 7.10.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Yes.
Yeah, I think this is a wise way to do this, because of the shortage of vehicles, and if they're gonna get a good price on some, they're gonna have limited time to claim that.
Yeah.
I was just at the Ford dealer today, and that lot looks like the teacher parking lot after school's out, okay? Wasn't much there, all right?
Well, I did the math, and dividing it among those 8 vehicles, that's assuming you can get the vehicle for $46,250. For a truck, I don't think so. 4 vans for that much each, and then 3 new district vehicles, maybe. But there's such an added-on market because there's a shortage that.
Actually, on the base models, you can, like I said, that's what I do when my car gets worked on. And they had a lot of base models for,
So the cars are
40.
where we're gonna make up the difference. You're right. The trucks are running about 61,000. The vans will be running probably about 55,000, but the cars will be lower end. And we have what's called a FIN number, a fleet identification number, and that gets us a $3,000 to $4,000 discount on vehicles for
Okay.
having that number also.
So they're not going to be charged the market,
Some of them try that, but I shop around a lot. I mean,
did you get them to agree to not charge that extra add-on?
so I'll give you an example. The last board meeting, we had some trucks on that. Most of the dealers were trying to charge us about $76,000 because they were adding on $10,000. We were able to pick them up between 61 and 63,000 for those 2,500 HDs.
All right, thank you.
Okay, let's go ahead and vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Ms. Edmondson?
Yes.
Castaneda?
Aye.
Barrios?
Aye.
I vote aye. 7.11.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Okay, let's go ahead and vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Edmondson?
Yes.
Castaneda?
Aye.
Barrios?
Aye.
I vote aye. 7.12.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Let's go ahead and vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Ms. Edmondson?
Yes.
Castaneda?
Aye.
Barrios?
Aye.
I vote aye. 7.13.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Let's go ahead and vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Ms. Edmondson?
Yes.
Castaneda?
Aye.
Barrios? And I vote aye. 7.14.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Let's go ahead and vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Edmondson?
Yes.
Barrios? Sorry, I missed you. Caleb?
Aye.
I was on a roll there for a second too. And I vote aye.
I like it.
I was just calling your name because I figured, you might have had a question there, so.
Sorry, I know I threw you off, huh?
Threw me off. Okay, 7.15.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just one. This is the same question I asked last time. Okay, so this rate will be prorated by the number of students that test, correct? It's not just a flat rate, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
Perfect. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Ms. Edmondson?
Yes.
Mr. Castaneda?
Aye.
Mr. Barrios?
Aye.
And I vote aye. 7.16.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Let's vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Ms. Edmondson?
Yes.
Castaneda?
Aye.
Barrios?
Aye.
I vote aye. 7.17.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, got the second with Jose. Thank you. Any discussion? Let's vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Edmondson?
Yes.
Castaneda?
Aye.
Barrios?
Aye.
And I vote aye. 7.18.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Moman, we mentioned on our phone call, maybe considering having more transportation for our students, especially if they're let out and it's dark, and we might need to accommodate that with the later start times. Is it possible if we had more buses, we wouldn't have to have such a late start time at some of the schools? Could we consider maybe in our budget workshop what the cost would be? Because I've been asking students, I've been asking teachers. The students tell me they're okay with the start time, except one told me he's an early bird. He doesn't like the new start time. But they'd like the new start time and the old dismissal time. And I told him,
Hey,
I can't help with that.
that's the smart, that's the honors kid.
I can't help with that one. But as far as, the ones who are starting quite so late, could we at least look at the cost of bus drivers and buses and see if maybe for next year we can try to tweak something?
Yeah, absolutely. We met Monday, and part of our discussion, particularly at Silverado, is that they get out so late.
Yeah.
They in football practice about 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I believe the same holds true for Victor as well. So we want to try to identify our kids that walk home at night,
Right.
particularly during the time change when we get into basketball season, soccer season. So we're having those conversations, but I've not had the opportunity to sit down with Ms. Deal or with Brett or Tiger, but we are in the process of having those discussions.
Okay, as well as additional buses that could later help with the start time, maybe bringing it a little bit earlier, up to 8:30 instead of so late that some of them, if we could have that in our budget presentation, and of course, drivers would be needed.
Okay, we can
Okay.
talk about that.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
We also have an opportunity to go into the first wave of the grant program for the energy efficient buses.
The
And
solar
we-
or
and we
the
are-
electric?
Well, they are a hybrid, so they say they're electric, but we haven't seen a bus that's fully
Yeah, they
electric
go
that meets our
50
needs,
miles a day.
that can go as far as what we needed to go. But the hybrid buses, we're certainly looking for those applications, and we will file. I don't know what the backlog looks like, but I do know that we're in tier 1. So that's good. So we'll keep you informed.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
All right, let's go ahead and vote.
Aye.
Sorry, Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Ms. Edmondson?
Yes.
Castaneda?
Aye.
Barrios?
Aye.
I vote aye. Okay, excuse me, sorry, I'm a little off here, I forgot to, 7.19.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just one. So Mr. Campos, okay, so these instruments were for Lakeview, correct? Okay. And the other orders are to follow, is that what you've heard? Oh, okay, I know they should know, but no, I'm just curious. Because you did kind of imply that, so I just wanted to double check.
Right. While this order is exclusively for Lakeview, the other ones are coming. Most of them were under $10,000, so they didn't require board approval.
Oh, okay, good.
Fantastic.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Ms. Edmondson?
Yes.
Mr. Castaneda?
Aye.
Mr. Barrios?
Aye.
I vote aye. 7.20.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. I have a question generally about 7.20, 21, and 22. Just to make it clear, is that because of the virtual as well as GEC moving to Cobalt?
Correct.
Okay, it's all three of them. Because when you got to 7.22, I wasn't sure if that, because the other said moving virtual, and this one said moving Goodwill, VBA to Goodwill. But ultimately, both VBA and Goodwill, the object is to move them over to the Cobalt site.
Absolutely.
For all three of us. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Ms. Edmondson?
Yes.
Mr. Castaneda?
Aye.
Mr. Barrios?
Aye.
I vote aye. 7.21.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Caleb's got the second. Any discussion? Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Ms. Edmondson?
Yes.
Mr. Castaneda?
Aye.
Mr. Barrios?
Aye.
I vote aye. 7.22.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Let's go ahead and vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Ms. Edmondson?
Yes.
Mr. Castaneda?
Aye.
Mr. Barrios?
Aye.
And I vote aye. 7.23.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Let's go ahead and vote. Ms. Dew?
Aye.
Ms. Edmondson?
Yes.
Mr. Castaneda?
Aye.
Mr. Barrios?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay, we got 8.1.
So moved.
Oh,
no, I'm
No,
sorry.
we're good. This is just informational items.
Sorry.
8.2,
Had to turn the page.
CSBA Director at Large, is we got to vote on this, or is this give a? Not yet, okay, just being recognized, okay.
Who's currently filling that position? Barbara, are you the CSBA Director at
It
Large?
was on an email. that-
Well, it's doing nominations now, right now.
But who do we have filling that position now?
The director at large? It is Silver Valley, I think it's Karen.
Karen?
Yeah, Karen,
Okay.
Karen Gregg,
But
Do you know if
Jackson-
she's interested in continuing that?
most likely,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, 8.3.
8.3.
You're good.
I'm gonna take my water with me this time. Just in case.
You throw it at people if they ask silly questions. Like me?
Can I set my water over there? Thank you so much. Good evening, Board. I wanted to bring you up to date a little bit on what we're doing with facilities, what our outlook looks like. I want you to learn about the projects and some of our thinking as we progress out into the 3 and 5 year timeline. I'm going to talk about those financial resources that we have to support some of these projects at our schools. And finally, a little bit about what our debt obligations are at this point and how we mesh that with our obligations to go forward for additional funding sources. So first of all, I'm going to cover for you tonight some of the projects that we're working on our team for 2023, how they're funded, what those debt obligations look like from the general fund for the COPS and for some of our equipment leases, potential funding sources, some ideas about how we fund these projects in the future, and some next steps. Of course, our district is heavily involved in some modernization and some renovation projects, and of course, we are working very hard to do a lot of different things. HVAC, you've heard about that. Cobalt, of course, we're working to get that done this year. We have many projects throughout the district, and you have seen the list of those projects, and I've given you a list of those projects that we're currently working on. Cobalt, we just finished the turf field over at Adelanto. At Silverado, we have on schedule HVAC replacement. And at other sites, we are also doing HVA replacement, including all the swamp coolers. Those are combined, estimated at about $15 million district-wide. And I'm happy to tell you tonight that we had approval from CDE to get that funded through our ESSER funds, which we have over the next couple of years. So that was a real big plus for our district. Solar project over at Silverado is about $4 million. Security over at Transportation Yard, we're taking out of our routine restricted maintenance. The gym floor replacement is an insurance claim, so we're getting reimbursed for that. And then the dance floor and the gym flood that we recently had is about $60,000. We'll take that out of our restricted routine maintenance account.
Does that one also get reimbursed from insurance?
Our insurance deductible is $10,000, and because we've had many claims for flooding and other issues around the district, we're trying to reduce those claims to the insurance company to hold our premiums down. And so we are not turning in this one to the insurance company for reasons that it would expedite our claim premium in the next fiscal year. So we're working with the insurance company. In fact, I met with them the other day to look at how we reduce our premiums in the outside years by increasing our deductible amounts. And so they're going to be giving me some quotes I'll share with you in an upcoming board meeting. Those are all the projects that are currently underway here in this district for the 2022 year with Brett and team. And now we are going to talk a little bit about the planning process for modernization and renovation as we look beyond the next 12 to 15 months. Of course, we have some issues with camera upgrades and security I want to talk with you about. We want to take a look at that's about $550,000. We have to replace the cafeteria flooring at Victor, $110,000. These are just rough estimates because we haven't had the architects really kind of dig in, so we're just kind of putting out these estimates at this time just to talk with you about. Card readers district-wide, this would be about $3 million. Multi-purpose room at the district office would be about $3 million. These are not approved projects. These are just on the list for consideration. And of course, every 8 to 10 years or so, we have to replace those artificial turf projects. We have one that will come up at Silverado. That list equals about $7.6 million roughly, and we don't know if prices may go up, may go down, but we'll get some estimates for you on those numbers. Yes, ma'am.
What's a card reader? What's that,
Mr.
$3 million?
Brett?
So basically, the card reader is the little IDs we have that you put in front of the little reader on the door that unlocks the door for you, so you don't need a key. You just use that card. And the benefit of this is the system, we can also use it for security, like if, say we have a school we need to lock down, we can lock down a school from anywhere, any computer from in the district. We can also lock down the entire district from that same computer if we wanted to lock the whole district down, every door in the school. A great
So-
security feature also.
So that $3 million would cover every door that we have in our district?
That will cover every door in the district.
Okay, and then the multi-purpose room, district office?
So that was basically the multi-purpose building at the district office we're looking at to use for, one, we could use it for conferences, we could use it for board meetings, we could use it for multiple purposes here at the district office.
Well, I know when we last talked about another boardroom, we weren't necessarily in favor of spending money for a new boardroom at the time. So is this moving in the direction for a new boardroom?
Well, it's going to be, it's not just for the boardroom, though. The building we're designing has like the removable walls, the partition walls, where we can break it up into rooms for conferences and that type of stuff. But it'll also be big enough that it'll work better for a boardroom also.
Where would that be located?
We've got actually two locations. One would be in the grass on the right, over here by Del Rey. The second will be in the grass area over on the far side, on the east side of the district offices now.
But once Virtual and Goodwill move over to the old Cobalt, we'll have these buildings available as well before we start constructing something new.
That's true, we will have the buildings available.
So this isn't necessarily approving that we move ahead, but it's earmarking money if we want to move ahead with
Correct.
those projects?
These are not approved projects. This is just some of the things that have been talked about in the last couple of years.
Because I know at least one of my concerns is, we're gonna build a building so we can have more offices, which I think we have plenty of offices up here. And as Penny just said, we have formerly known as Goodwill, all right? So that's plenty of rooms over there.
So once again, these are not approved projects. This was just something that was, in the visioning process at this point. And we certainly can have a longer discussion about what's in and what's out, and what's, appropriate after we move some of these other schools around and open up Cobalt. Next, and this is really a little bit further out, more in the 3 to 5 year range. And of course, we need to push some of these projects up, and they may take priority sooner than later, especially as they relate to security upgrades at Silverado and security upgrades at Victor. And of course, now we've changed our school start times and end times. And so that's causing us to take a look at our lighting structures, because some of our schools don't have lighting that cover all of the fields now, and they will be going later. So we have trying to estimate what those costs might be for some lighting structures. And of course, that's a DSA issue, which takes anywhere from 6 to 8 months to get approved. We have infrastructure that we have to consider, underground utilities to run those lighting structures. So as a kind of plan B, if you will, we're looking at the possibility of renting some of the lighting for our fields, or having some of the sports at some of the other schools where necessary, because we don't have appropriate lighting at that time in the evening when the time change comes. So we're aware of it. We're trying to figure out some solutions for it. But I just want you to know some of our thinking and what we're looking at. We also have some land at the end of Forest. We know that that's a vacant piece, a 30-acre piece of land out there. We're thinking that there might be an opportunity to put a steel building out there. We're running out of space at our transportation department right now. Without adding more buses, we're already really maxed out on that property. We don't have a very large warehouse, and we don't have a cold storage facility. We currently rent cold storage facilities down the hill, and so that's pretty expensive to bring our frozen food up here, because we don't have really a place to house it. So we're starting to think with our team about what we need to do with warehousing, with cold storage, and with a proper bus facility that will have electrical hookups for our future buses that will be either hybrid or full electric buses. We estimate that that could be around $10 million. The other opportunity for that land, because it is such a large footprint, 30 acres is a lot, is that we split it and make some room for maybe a joint use project with the city for kids, to have a place where community and sports can happen outside of our school site. So that's part of our thinking and some of the things that we're trying to look at for the future and start doing some of that planning. Last on the list is, we know that Hook Junior High is busting at the seams. I mean, that's good for us because we know our enrollment's up. Today is day 9, and we have 11,079 kids. We're down just a little bit from last year, where last year we had 11,200. So we're down just a little bit, but our enrollment opportunities are not done. We still know we have kids coming in and enrolling, so fully expect that that enrollment will materialize. But we do know that at the junior high level, we do need some more room. So we need to start the discussions about going out for a GO bond and matching state funds. And so that's about a 5-year process. It's time to start thinking about that now so that we get ready for that enrollment growth. Looking at the last 5 years, we've kind of ticked up a couple hundred. Then during COVID, we went down a little bit. Then we went zooming back up 600, and now we're kind of flatlined at this point. I'll keep you more informed on the enrollment as we get into the close of the first month. Any questions so far?
Well, I know Jackie used to do an enrollment form for us, almost weekly, I think, or comparing across several years. So we will get that same report. I had asked Heather. Thank you.
Dave is putting that together daily. He's working with the schools, and we have school-by-school counts. And we look at that every single day, and we will also be utilizing that for staffing as appropriate.
Thank you.
So next I wanted to share, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, one of the things that, because of the late scheduling that we have now, lighting should be a number one thing that we actually do, particularly when those kids are out there playing sports. Because, 5 o'clock and almost 4:30, it's gonna be dark.
It's dark,
Right.
yes.
So we wanna make sure we're on the front end of, I know you say modernization and construction, but I wanna see basically these be moved up,
Absolutely.
especially with the lighting and security for kids.
Thank you. We will prioritize the lighting for sure. It's something that I don't think that anybody anticipated when the new law came into
Right,
effect.
exactly. I
And-
think every school district is
Exactly.
redoing their whole thing now.
Right.
on that.
So, yeah, we will prioritize those things. We'll be in contact with our architects to start the process immediately. I just want to inform you that once the architects make their plan, which is, we can ask them to rush it, but it still will take a couple of months for them to do the infrastructure, the lighting, all of that. Goes to DSA. I'm not sure what their timeline's gonna look like, because I'm sure there's gonna be many other districts, but I'm not sure all of them have thought forward the way that our team
Yeah,
has. So
right.
we're gonna really start pushing on that right away, and then get our project into DSA.
And then also you're working with him on the children that walk home after school in
Absolutely,
the dark
yes.
as well.
Yes.
I talked to him on Monday about that, and we definitely have to do something that.
We have to do something, and we need to be equitable with those
Yes,
services.
for all
And we're
the-
also thinking about having a conversation with the city transit to see if we can have some drop-off opportunities with bus passes and things like that. So we've put a
You're
lot of
working on
thought
that.
into this
Okay.
already, and we will be working towards those
And
goals.
board, just for the sake of the time and everything, I feel like this is a board workshop, because I feel like we're gonna have a lot of questions. There's a lot, I'm looking through this. If it would be okay to just give us a quick,
I'm going to wrap it up real quick
yes, a
for you
quick
right
overview,
now.
and then we can definitely dissect this, because I noticed even on the agenda, it's not been for the public, doesn't have it yet either, so.
Right.
But
Yes.
we're not moving ahead on these yet.
No,
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 this
this
is
is
just
just
information.
information.
Okay,
Right.
perfect, please, thank you.
So I will move it right along.
Thank you.
So I wanted to let you know, and you probably already do, but because I'm new, we do take the RDA funds, we get about 3.3 million a year. We transfer 3 million of those dollars over into the Capital Facilities Fund. And about 1.6 million of that money is spent on the COPS payment. We still owe about $20 million on that. We also have a equipment lease, it's about $500,000, and we pay for that. So only about 1.1 million goes towards our facility opportunities. In addition to that, we collect about 2.3 million in developer fees every single year, and that gets utilized for these construction projects, along with routine restricted maintenance and any other funds that we can grab onto, ESSER funds or whatever. But then I wanted to share with you what are the potential revenue sources that we could look at for the future, just to give you some thoughts, and then we'll have a budget workshop, or we'll have a facilities workshop to really dive into those. But the potential funding options, they kind of break down into two camps, if you will. One is, whether we're talking about a statewide tax or a local tax opportunity, or whether we're looking at a fee structure. So first and foremost, of course, is the state facility school program. And that has to be funded on a statewide bond. So generally, those bonds are sold or put in front of the voters in November, and when they pass. So our project, we have one project for Victor at the state right now. It's approved and unfunded. So we wait for those state bonds to be passed, and then we get into the funded opportunity. These are about 5-year goals. So, a new school, that kind of thing for a junior high would definitely be in the state school facility program. A parcel tax or a Mello-Roos is another, those are taxes, and they are local taxes. They usually are in small areas, and they can leave some areas out. I won't go into depth in those, but those are different tax opportunities. And finally, you can pass a local bond, which is called a GO bond, general obligation bond. Those are district-wide, and you can pass those with a 55 or a 2/3 vote. Depends on if you want to have a Prop 39 oversight committee, what the board decides to do. And finally, the last opportunity to raise funds for facility needs in the future is developer fees. We haven't raised our developer fees since 2018. We're about $1 below, we're exactly $1 below on the residential fee structure that is authorized by the state of California.
Per
So-
square foot?
Per
of
square
construction?
foot, yes. And so we do have an opportunity there to do a developer fees study and determine what our level 1 fees might be, and those funds can be utilized for our facilities. So with that, I'm sure you've had some questions along the way, but I just wanted to bring some information and some thinking and some of the things we're working on in our M&O department. Thank you so much.
But not moving ahead until
No.
we discuss. How can our,
Not moving ahead.
how can our stakeholders get a copy of this? Because it's not posted.
It's not posted, but I can make it available.
So how would they get a copy?
I will give it to Chris and we'll talk about how it gets posted on the website.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, 8.4, LCAP County revision.
So we just recently got notice that our LCAP was approved, but now we are revising the LCAP because of all that additional money that we went over the last, is that correct?
No.
Okay, when does that get into the LCAP, so that that's revised? Debbie had shared with us the additional money that we have.
So when we do the annual update of the LCAP every single year, that would be a time for us to go ahead and include those kinds of things based on kind of our educational partners' feedback. This particular item right now, the LCAP was approved by the county. A lot of hard work, as you know, went into it. It was very smooth sailing, and I will say, because it was difficult last year when I came on board and we had a little bit of a challenge. But Christine Foote and the LCAP team, amongst other people, really did a great job. We had some minor grammatical errors, some numbers were off a little bit. They gave all school districts 6 days, so once we got those little minor revisions, we made them, submit it right back. And we are happy to share that the county, very happy with our LCAP, approved it with no other changes, and we are taking it to board this evening just for information discussion item as part of what we need to do as part of the LCAP process.
Okay, and so then the additional money won't be until next year's LCAP?
Yeah, it won't be until the annual update, which we will start the process probably in September and line up our stakeholder group meetings and all of that.
Okay, perfect. And then, although it's not LCAP, but I know you've helped me understand this in the past, the federal monitoring that we've
Yes.
done before. Did we meet all the criteria so we don't have to give any of the money back?
No, we don't have to give any of the money back, but we do have one item that we recently found that we are working with the reviewer.
And
As a
do we
matter of fact,
anticipate we'll pass that?
100%, yes.
Okay, thank you for
You're
working on
welcome.
that. Thank you both.
Okay, we can go 9.1, business services.
So in business services, we've been busy.
Yeah.
We had, we're near the closing process. I want to say thank you to Shantae for her hard work. We're just right close to having the books closed for last year. 21-22 will be behind us. We will bring those results to you on 9/15, the unaudited actuals, which will show our ending fund balance. And then at first interim, we will update with all of the rest of the new initiatives that have been passed by the state government. In fact, we will also update in the budget numbers, you will see those additional LCAP numbers for supplemental and concentration grant funding in the budget, and they will be carried over for the teams that work on the LCAP plan.
That's the augmented money?
All of the money,
Okay.
all of the LCAP improvements because of the additional COLA. Remember that went up to 12.84. So those additional amounts that were not in the adopted budget will be improved by first interim. So also on day one, we celebrated the opening of school with students in every school. We had balloons in their colors and red carpets and cheerleaders, and I think that it was a marvelous opening for the schools. Yes, thank you. And it took a lot of folks to really pull that off, and our team and collaboration with the sites. It was just really super fun. Day 9, we're at 11,079 kids and growing. And that's about it for business. Thank
All
you so
right,
much.
Thank you. Ed Services.
Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to welcome Rebecca Cook. So excited to lead right alongside her. She does come with a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, comes from a lot of high school experience. She was a high school AD, vice principal, principal, and so forth, and she's gonna, I think, be a great addition to our team. So excited to have her on board. Also, I just wanted to thank Mike. I know he's here somewhere. Oh, there he is. We did a lot of training right before school started, with our campus supervisors and assistants, with even your assistants that work with APs on inputting data and discipline data. All those good, training had to take place, and it was very well received. So I just want to thank Mike and his leadership on really just making sure that everything is aligned and that we're all doing the same thing. So thank you, Mike, for that. Also, just, building capacity is so important, and training is so important. So we are so excited that right now, I just checked, 53 teachers and their instructional assistants have signed up for the CTA special education training that we are having that weekend of September 29th to October the 2nd. And we are paying for the whole thing, so we are excited that they get the opportunity, and especially instructional assistants, that doesn't happen as often. So to have them have that opportunity to go and learn and know how to collaborate with each other is a win-win. So we're excited about that. I know the numbers are going to be higher. Again, the only thing we ask is please don't leave until you finish your day on Friday. So that is something that I know I work with Mike on. So again, excited. It's going to be our Burlingame.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
they're flying out.
They're flying out.
It was 49 earlier this
Yeah,
year.
I just checked and it's 53.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
and they
great.
still have until the 26th, so we still have 8 more days.
And thank you, Fran, for sharing that.
Yes, thank you, Fran. I had time to spend at Lakeview yesterday, and I'm telling you, I think I wore out my heels. I was there for about 3 hours, and between lunch duties and in between classes. But what a great start of the year. The procedures they put into place to make sure that we keep the campus clean. When I counted how many kids were out of class, and not getting to class on time, it was very minimal and so much better than I saw in previous years. So great start, everyone, and just keep up that good work. And then also on behalf of Dr. Collins and Dr. Williams in the CT department, I did put the needs assessment for the Perkins 5 program, just for the board to, if you kind of, need something to read before you go to sleep. That is for your review. We will take it for information discussion item. It's a typical mandatory things that we do every single year. It'll outline some of the areas that we do really well in and some areas that we want to work on. And work experience is absolutely one area that we want to work on for this year. So just wanted to share that with you. And
Can
then
this be on the website or somehow our stakeholders?
I think it actually needs to be posted, so I will follow up on that and find out. And then again, I wanted to thank the site principals, the teachers, and everyone, the leadership team, just for making just the beginning of the year so smooth. Everything looked good, and I know a lot of hard work went into that, so just kudos to everyone, and thank you for that. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you. Human Resources.
All right, good evening, everyone. Had a great opportunity to visit the school sites, and some of the feedback from students and staff was just very positive, as Dr. Yee just mentioned. Some of the comments I heard, this was the smoothest opening we've ever had. A lot of the students super excited. I'm so excited to be back in school, see my friends. Some of them were happy to be able to sleep a little more with the change of schedule. And then some of them shared that they really liked some of the new food options. And that's kudos to our nutrition services folks. Number 2, thank you, Mr. Moman, for inviting Human Resources to the town hall meeting. It was nice to share with the community, answer some questions, and be able to talk a little bit about the wonderful things Team HR is doing, contributing to making sure we're fully staffed. And we are very close to being fully staffed, so thank you to Team HR for that. And once again, thank you, Chris Riley. I think he might have a career as a talk show host. In my visits to the schools, I was really happy to see our new refill stations. These stations give cold water that's filtered, and kids can walk up with their thingies. Not all of them, but some of them have them. Some of the schools do. So they're starting to appear. And the ones that do have it and the ones that will come, it really does make a difference, I think, for the kids to have some cold water that's filtered, especially with this heat wave. So stay hydrated and use your sunblock. The last thing I want to do is highlight, we did have an emergency last Friday at Silverado High School, and it's during these challenging times that leadership really shines. And Ms. Conkle and her team of campus security, other managers, teachers who were present, other support staff who were present, did an amazing job in responding appropriately. So congratulations for a great response. You can train as much as you want for it, but the real deal happens, and that's when leadership shines. And as a reminder to the community, we do have a lot of measures. Thank you, Mr. Williford, as well. He got out of his comfortable home and drove right over there and kept me informed as well. We do have our emergency catapult management system, which alerts everyone immediately. So Heather alerted us, and all of us immediately knew it was a code red. So I want to encourage teachers, classified staff, everyone to download the app on your phone, on your desktop if you feel more comfortable, or on any device so that you stay in the loop when these emergencies do happen.
Can we also do that?
Actually, you can. Yes, you can.
Maybe you and I can discuss.
We can sit down, and I know I'm working closely with Dave Bertelsen. We want to really set a deadline for, at the minimum, we want management to everyone have it, but we want to encourage teachers and other classified staff to be on and be prepared. So that is my report this evening. Have a good night.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Legislation. Didn't think we did.
We have one.
We have a paper.
We have a paper.
Yeah, it's very,
I think, Mr. Moman, did you have one you wanted to highlight?
Just one.
just one. Go ahead.
Yeah.
AB 748 Carrillo. It's a pupil mental health assistance posters. AB 748 is requiring on or before the start of the 23-24 school year that each school site in the school district, county office of education, or charter schools serving students in any grades from 6 to 12 inclusive, to create a poster that identifies approaches and shares resources regarding pupil mental health. The bill will also require the poster to be prominently and conspicuously displayed in appropriate public areas that are accessible to and commonly frequently by students at each school site.
All right. Thank you, sir.
So would this run through Mr. Williford's department? All right, we look
Yes.
forward to seeing those posters.
Yes.
Thank you, I
Thumbs
appreciate
up.
that. Thank you for
guys
highlighting
All right,
that.
Mr. Barrios, kick us off, sir.
Okay, well, first off, I'll start on a sad note. I'm sorry to hear that Ms. Lindbergh at Lakeview lost a family member recently. And that was like, whoa, because that's, losing a family member's bad enough, but losing a child, I can't even imagine that. So, condolences and prayers to her family. And on a good note now, okay, visited Adelanto briefly today. Unfortunately, I only spent my time in the auto program because I found out that I had a car issue and I had to go from there to a mechanic because they're not fully operational yet. So that was my fun part. And the consultant issue with purchasing and hiring consultants, I would like to hear some more information on that, because if that indeed is a fact, then we need to do some revamping, because people just can't arbitrarily, put something $1 under the $10,000 limit to avoid board approval. All right? And I thought we discussed this at length earlier, I believe it was last year, about the uniform and shoe allowance for the classified employees. And now the issue's coming up again, so maybe we need an updated report on that, because it sounds like it hasn't been taken care of. And I remember we talked like half an hour on that,
Yeah.
trying to up the allowance on the boots and things like that. So anyway, that would be something that we would need to do. And next thing, it was kind of exciting. I guess I need to get out more, but it's kind of exciting to see some of the current and future projects, and not just see the projection, but where the funding source is going to be. Because when you say that magic word that it comes from the ESSER funds, that's federal money that we don't have to spend out of our general fund. So that's like good news to some of us. And two last things actually, just to let you guys know the water fountain issue. For those of you that are new to the district, Hook Junior High historically has had the best water fountains in the school district. Okay, now it may not sound bad, but you ask any of these older employees and they know that. And last but not least, week 2 is just about behind us, and except for one big hiccup that was already discussed, things seem to be looking good and going good, and students are getting to class, and I heard that there's not as many tardies in the morning as some of us would have projected. So that's good news, all right? So things keep looking up, and that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Castaneda.
Yeah, I'm not gonna echo some of what he said, although I agree with it, but save some time. So I'll just say, I echo a lot of what Mr. Barrios said, but I wanna definitely take the time to extend my condolences to Principal Lembrick. It was very sad to hear that. Around 10:45 on Friday, after a really great week, from what I understand, I got a call from Mr. Moman, and it was the worst possible news that you could hear, and that was that there had been gunshots fired on one of our school campuses. And so I know Mr. Moman worked on it all weekend long, and the cabinet was there, and Heather, so I went, I communicated with Mr. Garcia and said, hey, I don't have to work, so I can go. So I went to sort of represent the board and make sure that we had someone there. Heather, I thought you did a really great job responding. You know, we'd be lying if we told you that we could prevent these kinds of things. I mean, we live in a different kind of society, but what we can do is make sure that our mitigation responses are excellent, you know, that our students know where to go, that they're being directed where to go, that our staff has the training, and that we're responding appropriately to, you know, put up security, take security measures that are gonna hopefully prevent what we can prevent in the future. And so I would ask for the community's cooperation. There may be changes that you don't like, right? But we're just trying to keep our people safe. We're not trying to close off access to our schools, but I think Heather would appreciate not being put in a catch-22 where you can't do anything right. You know, you're trying to respond and keep our people safe, but then people are complaining, because understandably, we'd like to have access to these sort of school events, but there may have to be measures taken. So I speak for myself, but I'm sure the other board members, we're all on board with whatever we need to do to keep these shootings from happening and keep our people safe. All right, so there's that. Early start times, and I've been hearing the same things that everyone else has been hearing, that everything went really well. And I just want to say, like, I think this is kind of predictable, because we know from watching other districts that have moved their start times back that getting sleep improves behavior, improves student behavior, improves tardiness. So I'm glad to hear it. I hope it continues. The last thing is this OCR report. And we all got a copy. And there's a lot of stuff in it, and I know that we've been working on this for a long time. And I appreciate Mr. Williford, your efforts, Dr. Yee, your efforts. But this is still, I mean, this is not good news. If you read it, there's a lot of stuff that should not have been going on in our districts. And I think it has to start from a position of being willing to discuss race, because that's like no one wants to, they're not comfortable conversations to have. But if we don't address the elephant in the closet, if we don't talk about race and to talk about implicit bias, then these things are going to continue. So I would ask all of us to be willing to have tough conversations on race in our workspaces, with our coworkers, with our supervisors, with our students, and listen to them. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Ms. Castaneda. Okay, Ms. Dew.
I just want to say that I do send my condolences to the Lakeview principal for what has happened. 'Cause I don't wish that with anyone. And I want to thank the Air Force guys for coming in. It just reminds me of the Air Force, due to my family is Air Force. the thing that we're gonna have to do, and one of the things we should face, is what is in our OCR and how we deal with it. One of the things that I was talking about with LCAP was the fact that we need to have things in there that can answer some of the questions and help us with what we're doing. That's why I continuously talk to curriculum about how we handle what we handle. The problem is people don't understand race or racism or discrimination, not in the sense that some people do understand it. And slavery, people that came out of slavery. Everybody in the room, a lot of people that came in this room or sitting in this room have never been through any of that. And people that have been through slavery and all that stuff, teachers and others need to know. They need to be fully aware of what has happened to people that came here. And they didn't just get here. I mean, we're talking about the 1400s, 1500s, clearing the land so that other people could come here and be in this room today. So, there are areas that we need to cover as far as what's going on. And it's not just here, it's throughout it's throughout California and throughout the United States. So those are areas that we need to cover. And I think, Mr. Moman, we're working on that, right?
Yes, we are.
Right. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Dew. Ms. Edmondson?
Thank you, Mr. Moman, for extending our condolences to our principal. Thank you very much for sending her that. Richard, I know you've worked really hard on the uniforms, and I don't know if you're able maybe to give us an update, not necessarily now, but in our Friday notes, or if someone could, Mr. Moman, let us know if there are people still needing uniforms. I know that in the LMI, we talked a lot about it, and Richard, I know you've worked really hard. So if we could get a couple sentences of how that's going.
Okay.
I too want to thank our district for their quick, swift, and certain response to what happened at Silverado. Thank everybody. Heather, you went above and beyond, and your words of comfort and solace were important and well said. And Caleb, thank you for representing the board. We all were working, well, we have other jobs, but I know you represented us well. And just thank you again for the team, because we can't anticipate when that happens, but we can start putting things into place. And I know the system you put into place was a couple years ago. It was even before COVID. So I look forward to getting on it. And Mr. Moman, just as I was texting, you called. Yep. And, you know, I was hearing from former students about what was happening, and I thought, I looked on my email, hadn't received anything, and just as you called. Thank you. That's horrible that happened. Yes. Thank you for mitigating it, and as we continue with our security to upgrade that, I look forward to hearing more about what we put in place. When you were talking, Barbara, about the OCR and Caleb, I know that there's a lot that we need to do, and much more than just this one suggestion, but I know through COVID we didn't have the Footsteps to Freedom, but that was such a powerful program. I'm wondering if we could look into that. Hardy Brown was one that, I think he's in charge of that. And I'd even like to see if we could send some students to that. I know it's in the summer, but there might be something he could make a hybrid for during school year, and maybe some of our students could experience that. And I really think it's important, this OCR just brings to light that we need more staff, we need more training, but we need more staff to help us deal with students who are having issues and having problems. So although we've wanted to increase our mental health, I don't think they're fully funded yet, or fully staffed yet, are they?
We only have one vacancy. It was staffed, but unfortunately, we had to release an employee. Now, we have just recently flown the position with the bonus, a sign-on bonus, in order to attract, good candidates. So we're almost there.
Okay. And I know we've got a great program at Adelanto, and we're going to discuss more about that.
Yes.
But there was a time
yes,
when we had youth court and other programs, if we could think about what we need to put restorative practices in place at each site, it's critical right now. And it'll have a snowball effect that will help and certainly improve the OCR criteria that we need to improve
Absolutely.
upon. So
Absolutely.
we need to really give that serious consideration. And just to let you know, Victor L., we started today, and I have 33 students in homeroom. I have a little bit more in my math class, a little bit more than that in my language arts class. We rotate, we're like a high school. We will add our electives next week and our science and history the week after that. And our teachers work from bell to bell, and even before that, we're out there monitoring students the whole time. We're teaching in PE, and when I came in, I looked like a red tomato because I had outside parking lot duty, and we stayed late because you can imagine pickup at every site's just as crazy, and it was at our site as well. So we're all back in school now. I don't think anybody in the high desert hasn't returned yet. So all of our students are.
DVC hasn't.
Oh, well, when did they go back?
I think the 29th.
Okay, well, I wish them good luck. And thank you especially, Carlos in our junior high. I know those 7th graders, they get scared. So thank you so much for giving them some extra love. I appreciate it. And then I'm gonna hand this down to Heather. I took the online classes for my district and like the mandated reporter. Barbara, if you could hand that down. And some other classes, so if you could hand that in. And then Ramiro, one last thing. Thank you for giving us the strikeouts. I had requested that last meeting, and I appreciate that, so I can look through that and see the changes. Can any of our other stakeholders get copies if they need to see what changed?
It's not common practice. I would like to consult with VVTA and CSEA first before we do that.
Okay.
Typically, we don't do that. They
Well,
get the
maybe
clean
they
copy.
can go to their association if they.
Yeah, I think that might be a better approach, because typically we don't do that.
Okay. All right, and thank you guys for staying, and thank you for running this very tight ship. Thank you.
Great job. Great job, thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, just to reiterate a lot, condolences to the Lakeview family for sure. The other one we've already touched about is the uniforms and the shoes. We'll
provide
have,
an update.
if we can have that as an update at the next one. Spoke to a couple clinicians about the Silverado incident. Heather, you had some very, very high praises from your team out there. Thank you so much. And that was crazy. And I'm going to be honest with you, I was asleep, and Mr. Moman woke me up. I know it's a Friday night, but let me tell you what, we've already been in school, and it's been a long couple weeks. So
You got a toddler.
I know, and I got a toddler, so he goes down, parents go down. So you can feel me on that. So anyhow, but thank you, Caleb, again for going out there. And Caleb did call, and I thought it was great that you were out there assisting and being a presence for the board as well. Okay, I think that's all I've got really for today. So with that being said, Mr. Moman.
Keep it really tight. First, I want to congratulate and welcome Rebecca Cook. Is she still here? Did she leave? She left? Okay. But congratulations to her. She's going to be working with a great leader over in Ed Services. We had our second show led by our host, Chris Riley. And I think it was an excellent show. Dr. Yee was part of that. Debbie was part. Dr. R was part of that. We had Michael. And Jonas was our translator, although he didn't get a chance to translate, but he was there. And we had Heather Kunkel. So I think we answered all the questions from the community. We're thinking about doing a time change because we start at 3. And we're looking at maybe moving it back to 5 so we can reach more of our parents. And the idea is to bring to our community things that we're doing well in our district, but also to be able to answer those tough, critical questions that they may have and try to stay as transparent as a district as possible. But inviting parents to actually be a part of what we do in our school districts. High school districts is very tough to get parents involved. So I think this is another way of attracting parents and maybe having them participate in some of the programs that we offer in our district. We had a great opening of school last week, and also this was a great week. Although we know Friday night was tough on all of us, but Heather and her team did a great job. It also shows that we work as a team because everybody came together to participate in that process. But from that, we also have to think about our other schools. And so we had a meeting, Heather Conco, Chris Casino, and Ebony Purcell to talk about their schools and about safety. Brett was a major part of that. And I know he's doing walkthroughs with the principals to make sure that we try to keep our schools as safe as possible. We know that we can't prevent things from happening, but we want to try to be as safe as we can. We want to try to deter as much as we can as a school district. Outside of that, that's all I have to share.
Fantastic.
One of the
Motion.
things that when he called, I did contact the police, because I sit on a board for the whole entire San Bernardino Police Department. So does my husband. And we did talk to them about this, because something like this, we don't want to happen. And so, they are definitely now making sure that everybody's fully aware within San Bernardino County, and particularly now in Victorville, of what's happening with people.
Thank you. All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye.